What's up, everybody? A Sparrow with a Gun here from Sleepless Nights with another episode on the Space Engineers Inspiration series. We are starting things off today with the NCC 1227 Shenzhou. No, I did not remember that. It's written very plainly on the ship. So, some of you may be going, hold on, didn't we see this not too long ago? Like a few weeks ago, a few episodes back. Yes, and actually I believe it's done by the same builder. However, you might notice this is a bit larger. So, essentially, apparently, according to the description, the builder got a lot of feedback from the small grid version, and it was heavily requested to do a large grid version. So this is the same idea, the same basic, ship. So the design and stuff really hasn't changed, but the overall size of the ship has changed, and now because it's a large grid, it does have an interior, which is the part I was fairly heavily focused on. Now, this does kind of need to come with a disclaimer a bit, in that it said in the description that a few, and there's actually quite a few of the rooms that are left empty on purpose. It was for people to add their own stuff. A lot of times you can see stuff like that and you're not sure if it's a work in progress or if it's just they didn't do an interior or something, but it was specifically mentioned in the description that it was designed on purpose to allow for you to customize the interior the way that you want it. It is vanilla. There are no mods, which is cool, especially considering the level of detail and the accuracy of the ship. I think that's really neat. And I think this might be the entrance. It said around the radar dish, but I kept thinking it was down here. But on the Shenzhou, I do believe that is the radar dish up there. As well, for no other reason than that's the only thing that looks like a radar dish. But I'm pretty sure it's mentioned in the show and stuff. Whoa! Okay, not sure what happened there. Alright, we're just going to leave our jetpack on and kind of override the airlock, because I don't really know... Not really sure why this is set up that way, unless it was designed to be done with the jetpack in mind. Okay, so now we are in the interior. Now we should be towards the nose of the ship. Well, front of the dish at least. There really isn't a nose. But stuff like this, there's empty, probably crew quarters mostly, I would imagine, but just rooms in general. I don't see any labels for anything at the moment. So these are all empty, but I do like the hallways and the lighting and stuff like that. I do think that's cool. Now, some of this got shown in the show, for those of you that at least watched the pilot, but a lot of it, I don't think on the Shenzhou really got shown all too much. So I'm not really sure in terms of, other than, like, the bridge, the captain's quarters, stuff like that, I'm not really sure as to what would actually be deemed accurate. Because it's not... You didn't really get to see a whole lot of the interior of the ship. But I do like this kind of layout. This is interesting to me. I have to admit this, I don't think I've ever actually seen this before in a Space Engineers build. This is actually an angled hallway, in that... the direction of the floor is actually angled. And I really can't say that I've ever seen that. That's kind of cool. It's just a little different. It's not something I'm used to seeing. I could easily get lost in here, though. So, area 35 or 25? It's a little blurred out. Medbay. Ah, okay, so we have a medbay here. So I do think this is cool in terms of, unfortunately it doesn't give me a whole lot to show off, per se. Gray alert, that's funny. But this is kind of cool too. It looks like a mechanics area or a galley. I never know when there's tires involved. It's like either that's supposed to be something else or it's supposed to be a mechanics table. Computer room, that sounds fun. So it looks primarily... Man, there's a lot of room in here, though. This is a big ship. I know that we bumped there. It's been bumped up to a large grid, but just the overall exterior size appearance, I didn't really think it would have this much of an interior space, but it actually has a lot of room. I'm honestly looking for the bridge. That's kind of what's going on at the moment. Is I'm looking for a sign or anything that'll take me to the bridge. This must be the whole dish because we're kind of wrapping around in the same kind of pattern, and this is like the central part type of thing. So this is probably still... There's the brig. It's close. So this is probably still all the dish. I need to go lower, I think, because we kind of came in at the top of the dish. Ah, here we go. Directory. This'll work. So we have the bridge is up there. Deck 4 observation area, which may be where we entered. I'm not sure. Oh no, I take that back. We're in the blue. We're in the crew quarters. Okay, so the observation area is higher on deck 4. Bridge is deck 1. Okay, I misread that. And reactor, diner, hangar, and observation area 1 is on deck 2. That's probably what we're seeing here. This is probably the diner, I imagine. So, and since we found a sign that finally said bridge, I'm guessing this is the bridge. Now this is an interesting layout thing, because I don't know, again, because of how much wasn't shown on the ship, I'm not sure if the builder was actually trying to be accurate with anything or not. But what I find interesting is the way that the show depicted it. Now, I could be wrong. I'm not enough of a Trekkie that I haven't looked up, like, you know, the actual schematics and blueprints, so I could be totally off and the show could have just been misleading. But it seemed like when you left the bridge, there would be like a hallway and you went, to the captain's quarters, and I don't see that anywhere. So that's interesting. But we have all of the typical stuff, locations, radar thing. We've got the damage readout stuff, gray alert, alerts off, yellow alert, blue alert, red alert. Audible? I'm not sure what that does. I'm afraid to push it. It's in red. Leaked vents, etc. and so on. We've got a captain's chair here that looks like it's for decoration, but not the primary flight seat. Oh, pilot control. Okay, so let's see if I'm versed. Helmsman should be over here, I think. So pilot control, take control of the ship. Now what do we have? We have torpedoes, warp computer 1, 2, lighter, I'm not sure what that is. Hydrogen engine. This is designed for, I mean, go figure, it's designed for space flight, I believe. Where did I just end up? I could be wrong. I might have been reading a different description. What am I looking at right now? Oh, I'm in third-person camera. I was like, why am I looking at the diner? I could have been reading about a different one, but I believe it was this one. That mentions... Oh, I can't see the third-person camera. That's kind of annoying. That's what was happening. I tabbed out to see how the ship looks from the outside while it's flying, and I really couldn't get that to work. So, speed-wise... I'm not seeing our speed. Oh, there it is. Sorry, my microphone was in the way. So speed-wise, it accelerates and decelerates pretty good. And for the kind of ship that it is, turning and moving feels really nice. It's a little on the slower side, but again, being like more of a Miranda class. I think it's a Miranda class-ish. Something like that. You know, it's not a fighter, and it's a fairly large ship. Actually, this would be a pretty good one, if you had the materials and stuff. This would be a pretty cool ship for like a survival build. Or a survival playthrough, because of all the empty space you have to work with. There's a lot of rooms you could repurpose, a lot of stuff. Now, I don't know as far as if it's got all the assemblers, conveyors, and etc., all that stuff going on, or not. Reactor goes this way. Hangar bay, and it does have a functional hangar bay. It was mentioned in the description. So, you can actually dock small ships and all that kind of stuff in here. And I believe on approach in a small ship, it said something about the doors will open, which I thought was a nice touch, if that's accurate. But yeah, overall, I just wanted to kind of show it off again because this one actually had an interior, which I thought would be a really cool thing to explore. So on that note, I think we're going to wrap this one up. Let's move on to the next one. Alright, so next up we have the Imperial Astral Ship, which is an Allods replica. I hope I'm saying that right. I had a brief encounter with Allods. It's an MMO, but I didn't do too much with it. But the ship design looked really cool, and so I wanted to show it off. This is yet again a vanilla build, which the creativity and uniqueness to it is kind of surprising to me for it to be vanilla, particularly stuff like these jump drive stuff, the angled solar panels, the decking, all that kind of stuff is really, and these fins and things, they're really nice touches for it to be vanilla. So yeah, the description is pretty much nil. It's very light. There's not much there. So we're gonna have to kind of wing most of this without anything to go on really, other than just our supreme observational skills, which I'm sure all of you know mine are just on point. I never miss anything. Let's move on. So these are kind of cool looking deck gun things. I don't know if they're automated or not. That didn't help. I don't read that. So I'm not seeing any kind of like flight seat or anything to control them, so I'm guessing they're either remote block controlled or they're auto turrets. There is an antenna to them, so it's possible that it's being controlled through a signal, but I really like those deck guns. Those look really cool. Just from a style standpoint, even if they're not the best functional or anything. The thing that I'm not sure I would like about this in terms of functionality is that it doesn't seem like the rocket launcher is actually tied into a conveyor, so you'd have to manually load the rocket launcher, which, I mean, that's kind of cool if you had like a big crew or something and it actually, you had like weapon people. That would be kind of cool. But for like a single player type thing, I don't know if that would be super viable, but I definitely like the look of them, and I love this solar panel array thing. This thing is freaking awesome. It's like a wind sail, but it's solar panel. That's so cool. That's the kind of stuff that keeps me doing this series, to be honest, is just, you know, finding new stuff that you haven't seen before, and then you're like, wow, I didn't know the game could do that. That's a cool way to do that. Particularly with solar panels too, and glass and things. I always like solar panels because that's my go-to power source. I really like renewable resources in survival games. I don't like feeling like I can run out of stuff. Even if it's like, yeah, I've said this before in other videos, series, and things, but even if it's something like you have to work really hard and get to endgame level before... Oh, man, we've got below deck guns, too. This thing's loaded for bear. But yeah, even if it has to be like a real late game thing, I just like the idea that at some point in the game you can reach a point where you're not stressed about like, I'm always going to run out of resources type of thing. So solar panels, oxygen farms, all that kind of stuff I really like. These are all lighting controls, it looks like. So when you're using that as your primary, and you really like using those kinds of things, it's always cool to find a new creative way to set them up so they're not just a random solar panel array. I really like this too. Speaking of glass, I really like this whole suspended floating bridge thing surrounded by glass windows. That's pretty friggin' awesome. I'm guessing this is actually the main flight seat, and it's actually kind of cool the way that this is set up. That if you're using the head look control, you've got a hydrogen thing there, you've got your jump drive readouts there. It's not like all right in your face, but you still have access to the information, which is kind of cool. I like that setup. I really like this bridge. It's very simple. It's not super cluttered. We've talked about that before in previous episodes, that like clutter design. A lot of times I really do like that, but every now and again when something like this happens, I do like the clean, simplistic kind of look sometimes. It's tricky to pull off where it doesn't just look bland and boring, but that's a good example, in my opinion, of how to do something simplistically and cleanly kind of thing, but it still not look like it's just boring blocks and stuff. Okay, let's see here. So this is the lower part. That's going to go up to that front door, I believe. Yep. Trying to keep my bearings here. So then we have a door that goes this way, and this doesn't go back any further without going through that, so I guess we've explored all of that. So this is the reactor area, and I love that spotlight. That spotlight adds so much ambiance. Okay. So, yeah. It doesn't look like there's a ton in the way of, like, interior commodities type thing, like the Shenzhou one with the crew quarters and all that kind of stuff. It looks more function-focused, which is pretty cool. So let's go ahead and test out that functionality. I am stuck on a turret. Okay. Back over here. Trying to keep an eye on where I am. Alright. So now from here, let's get our HUD back up. So accelerating wise, seems pretty good, at least forward. It's a little slower on the deceleration, but that's because we don't have these giant hydrogen thrusters pointed the other way. Turning is a little bit sluggish, but again, it's all in what kind of ship it is, and that's to be expected for this style. It's a big ship. So overall, I really like the design and stuff. I think my only thing, like I said before, would be if you were actually using it in like a survival and you were playing by yourself, I'm not sure how conducive the weaponry would be. But as far as movement and stuff, I really like it. Let's check out how these are wired, though. Okay, so those rocket launchers are front firing. Those aren't those turret ones. I'm actually guessing the turret ones are going to be run by a script. Would be my go-to idea, because I don't see any remote control blocks. There was no control seats, anything like that. I did see a remote block, but I don't know what it's for. It was in here. Astral Ship remote. Huh. Okay. Astral Ship remote. What does this actually take control of? Because we're already flying the ship. I guess it takes control of the ship anyway. I wonder if that's in place so that you can take control from anywhere? Interesting. We've also got some stuff on the back that I think I've missed. Either I missed it or I wasn't paying attention. So let's head back up here and check this out before we wrap this one up. Okay. It was back over this way. Yeah, I don't think we went in here, did we? I ran around the thing. I didn't go in here. So this may be more of the interior stuff. That looks pleasant. I don't know what this is, but it's amazing and awesome, and I want one. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be just like a hologram display kind of thing, or if it's actually supposed to be some kind of AI. Again, not knowing how the ship design connects to the idea of the ship in Allods, I'm not really sure if any of that is like game specific. That doesn't. It's more cosmetic or something. Overall, though, this looks like kind of like a. I'm not sure what this is, actually. In traditional, like, you know, sailing ships, this would have been like either the captain's cabin or the war room or something like that, I believe. So I'm guessing this is kind of something like that, but there's no real quartery type feel to it. So I'm not really sure, but if nothing else, this has some container areas, your ore detector, a beacon, and a really cool thingy mabobber. Because it's a really cool thingy mabobber. So I think that's going to wrap this one up, and let's move on to the next one. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty excited about this one. This is the stealth carrier Radegast. I've done most all of these stealth ships, I'm pretty sure. I've showcased them at some point or other. Ooh, that's a good shot of it right there. So pretty. But yeah, they just never get old to me. I just think it's a really cool idea of actually trying to do in-game, like, vanilla cloaking kind of thing. It's a really cool premise. And it surprisingly works really well. The other thing I really like about these kinds of ships is quite a few of them have been designed with a gravity drive, which I really like the idea of. But and it also allows for bigger ships to fly a bit faster. Like the speed that's listed in the description on this one is kind of crazy for the size of the ship. Now, if I could just find a door, that would be awesome. But it gives us a cool view of the outside. I believe these are... I'm not 100% sure. Wow, those are bright. But I believe these in the description are referred to as an experimental photon-based heat sink. Because that's a thing. So I believe those are the things that are being talked about in the description when it says they can be turned off. So we'll experiment with that as soon as I find a door. It's kind of hard with it being all glass, because you're like, I know it's... Ah, here it is. Did I paste it in upside down? It feels like I might have, because this door is right side up. I did. I did paste it upside down. I have done that a lot lately. Alright, let me re-look at this. Okay, so this is actually how it's supposed to be viewed. I mean, it's not life or death, really. It's kind of a similar look on both angles, really. But overall, yeah, I guess that's the proper... Wait, now what is this going on here? What is happening with all these little angle thingy-mabobbers? This is cool. Now, I will say another interesting factoid to this one... Oh, there's no door on this side. That's interesting. The other interesting thing to this one is that it actually boasts a dual stealth layer. So I'm kind of curious as to how that works. I mean, unless it's just a straight double layer of glass or something. Laser antenna, laser antenna, laser antenna, and, you guessed it, laser antenna stuff. Oh, this is cool. This is neato. Okay, so they're using blast blocks as both railing and walkway for that part. That's pretty cool. I like that. Got another stairway over here. We've got a bridge going that way. This does not have, as the name implies, it is a carrier, so it does not have any primary weapons of its own. Oh yeah, there is like a second layer of glass there. I'll be dip. Well, that's cool. I'm not really sure yet what the point of having a stairway down here is, other than just for observation, maybe? But it doesn't have any weapons of its own. It's a carrier, so its primary form of offense and defense is to rely on, can you connect through a glass like that? Is that still a thing? Because that would be kind of cool. Otherwise, I don't know how that's useful. So it does rely on all the fighters. This is an observation deck. There's a med bay, the cryo bay. Oh, that's an interesting way to do a med bay. I think it can hold something crazy, like up to, I think it's 12 or 11 fighters. So it definitely has kind of a pretty large arsenal of fighters and stuff to defend itself. So it comes preloaded with, I think, I'm not sure if these are joint, like the fighters were built by another builder, or if they're also part of the arsenal design, or the ship designs and stuff of the builder for the carrier or not. But check out this flight deck, though. This is awesome. Now, my one question is, how do they get out? And looking at this glass, I think I am going to be ecstatic when this moves, is my guess. I'm guessing this top layer of glass here is going to move, and these ships can actually just take off, which would just be totally amazing. Now, this is a cool ship design, too. I really like this. Do we have no gravity out here? I guess not. I really like this kind of ship. This is a cool looking... It's kind of almost got a stealth fighter kind of vibe to it. And these look like the smaller... I'm guessing this is more gunship, these are more fighters, would be my guess, but I wouldn't quote me on that, because I have no clue what I'm talking about. So business as usual. Alright, so let's get back to the bridge and start... I'm not going to probably mess around with actually, like, flying the fighters, but I do want to check out some... Ooh! Yep. Yep. I am still fascinated by blinky lights. Yeah. It's like, don't... Yeah, it's just a bunch of lights. Don't get... Yeah, but when you see a bunch of lights blinking, I instantly think, ooh, that's cool. Alright. So let's see what we got working here. Block... Thruster lights. This was the one I was talking about. But it's set for off, so that might not be what I was thinking. Unless that is just to toggle it off, I'm not sure. Mainframe, rangefinder, target camera, front and vertical, maybe? Antenna, jump drive, lights, hanger trigger, arc furnace. It does have an arc furnace and a slightly enhanced assembler, I believe, for basic assembling of, I believe the description uses it as maintenance and stuff like that for if you needed to repair things. We have an oxygen generator, utility gravity generator. I'm not sure if that's the gravity drive or not. Thruster lights, Radegast reactors, batteries. Okay. I'm not sure what this stands for, but it could be the hangar controls. I'm not sure. So we have a bunch of information readouts here. Let's check this other seat, see if it does anything differently. Doesn't look like it. Okay, so what I'm left with then is... Let's check the scripts for the lights. Oh, that does turn them off. Okay, so that is the... If you wanted to go like full stealth mode type of thing, you can turn the lights for the thrusters off. Though it does not look like they come back on the same way. I broke something. Oops. Oh, there's the hangar timer block. Okay. So let's actually check that out, because I am curious. Look at that! Oh, it's on pistons! I was expecting it to be like on a rotor or something and lift. Oh, that's awesome! Remember that part about this is why I do this series? Yeah, this is another example of that. That is freaking epic. Oh, and it's got little running lights. Oh, that's so cool. I love these builds. These are so much fun. Okay, so that's the hangar. Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool. Now, it looks like the gravity generator drive is set up on a WASD key, probably through a script. So, wow, for a hangar or for a carrier though, this thing moves. Like, that kind of turning speed and stuff is crazy. And I read in the description the acceleration is ridiculous because of the gravity drive. That right there, though, with that nebula reflecting off it, that is so cool. Okay, let's give this a go. Whoa! I want to implement gravity drives on all of my ships. Now, the only thing that I don't know about is... need a point of reference, so I apologize, but I'm going to try and use the sun if I can find it. There it is. So the only thing I don't know about is if you accelerate really fast with a gravity drive and then turn, I don't know if you kind of keep drifting. Actually, you slow down so fast, you're really not drifting that much, so... Good grief. Yeah, you do still kind of drift, though. And then it has to kind of recenter. So that would be the only thing with a gravity drive, is if you're flying kind of like a fighter, your dampening stuff is not active, so you kind of have a little bit of a coasting kind of effect. But overall, to me, it's kind of worth it to take a ship that's... I mean, you can see the weight size over there, and it's carrying 12 fighters, but to be able to go from 0 to 100 in like maybe 2 to 3 seconds or something, that's pretty ridiculous. So I'm really amazed at the maneuverability and stuff of this thing. This is awesome. Alright, on that note, I think we're going to wrap this episode up here. If everything goes according to a plan, this should be going up on Christmas Eve day. And this will be the last episode I do until probably the new year, because I'm taking the week off for Christmas vacation. So with that, I hope you guys all have a very Merry Christmas, and I will see you guys in the new year. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, and I will see you all next time. Peace.